So I had a landowner that has quite amount of sandstone boulders, and he donated 3 large boulders, basically the size of cars, you know, a regular sedan. And then we sliced 2 of them up to make the 3 blocks that you see here. And then the remaining one, which is the size of a large truck, becomes the bottom block. And they're preparing that now up at the ranch. And then on the 29th of this month, that block arrives, and now we'll have all of the stone on the property. There are steel plates here that have been set for the 3 largest blocks. It includes that middle block, the people block, and then there are 2 plates off to the distance there, and that will hold the bottom block. These 2 seaweed blocks are not that heavy, so they don't need a steel plate to sit on. In the very beginning, we'll see the most amount of material coming off the block as they kind of just roughly get them into the shape that they need to be in. And then as they get closer to getting, you know, the finish on the skin and the shape of the muscles and all that, they'll begin to slow down, because they'll turn from basically a chipping operation, which is what's going on now, to a pointing operation. As you can imagine, the people in that block, they'll point from the outside of that frame to hit a knuckle or a finger or part of the wrist or the nose or the ear or wherever they're going to get their reference point. And then they'll begin to carve and remove material very slowly to that point. The skin, if you will, of this piece is basically falling apart. And stone is a pretty good material from which to carve until we do something to it. But what happened to this particular piece and the blocks next to it and around it is that at some point in the 60s or 70s, in an effort to protect the piece, it was painted. Now the stone can't dry out by itself, and if it can't dry out, then that water trapped inside begins to crystallize, and as it crystallizes, it expands, and as it expands, it breaks stuff apart. So this piece is falling apart from the inside out.
Well, I've always had a love for this piece. Moved here 15 years ago and slowly seen it deteriorate, and here I am 15 years later with the opportunity to recreate it. The next major step will be the 29th, when the final 2 stones arrive and everything gets put into its final positions here, and the workshop will really start coming together. Come on by, we're going to be carving out here once we're set up, and people can come by and take a look at what we're doing. A lot of people probably don't know how this happened, so we're giving them the opportunity to see us work and see this piece kind of come along, and an opportunity to see how we do it.